In a league filled with players who have an incredibly hard time relating to the average woman, you want to get rid of one of the players who can actually relate? You want to ban one of the players that men would actually pay to see? What the hell's wrong with these so-called fans of pretend basketball? Why would you want beautiful women to be banned from the league? For decades, feminine women have been a minority in the WNBA.
Ever seen refs fumble harder than a rookie in stilettos? Sophie gets the boot, Caitlin takes a hit, and the officials? Oh, now they've got something to say. Grab popcorn. This isn't officiating, it's Olympic-level gaslighting with a scoreboard. Let's dive into the mess they're pretending makes sense.
So as you can see after the game, Caitlin Clark and Sophie are both running up to the referee here. They are both so upset, and the referee is just walking away from them. He won't even look at them in the face. He keeps turning, like Sophie even went up at one point and is like tapping on his arm. He would not even look at them. You guys, I have watched so much basketball in my lifetime, so much NBA, so much professional basketball. It's comical at times when you see the players after the games talking to the refs, because a lot of them end up knowing each other at a certain point because they've reffed their game so many times. The fact that this referee wouldn't even acknowledge the players was kind of crazy to me. Like when I saw that, I said, this is really strange, because the referee should have enough confidence in the calls that they made to at least discuss. You should be able to at least discuss something with the players, because a lot of times players will go up and be like, why did you call that? What did you see? What was going on? And there's a back and forth that's happening. This guy's literally running away from them.
Sophie Cunningham gets launched out of the game like she just insulted the ref's haircut. Caitlin Clark eats an off-ball shoulder like it's lunchtime at the WWE cafeteria. And the referees? They suddenly grow a voice after the dust settles. Oh, how convenient.
Definitely the W, especially if Sophie Cunningham is going to continue to fight people for messing with Caitlin Clark, because it feels like Caitlin Clark is going to get treated in a certain way in this league for a long time. She's not a rookie anymore, okay? She's already proved herself. She's won. And then there were some, ladies last night that were trying to go a little physical. And in last year, I think something we noticed, and I think a lot of people noticed, is when Caitlin would get bullied, nobody would do nothing.
That's right.
Nobody would do nothing. It was like, hey, they didn't know, like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe people are doing this to Caitlin Clark. Teammates weren't jumping in there. They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah. Yep.
Boom!
Wow.
JC Sheldon, that's cute. You want to poke her in the eye, then push her into a boom, Mabry thing? Go ahead. I'll take a take foul, and you'll eat the deck a little bit here. And then we'll get I love it. I know people aren't going to like this. I like the Connecticut team doing what they did as well.
Yeah.
I don't like the blindside cheap shot. I don't like the poke in the eye. But I don't mind the
physicality.
Yeah, I don't mind a little bit of like competitive, how you doing, keep it moving.
Because nothing says professional league like referees who go full mime during chaos, only to find their tongues when fans start throwing logic and receipts. Let's rewind the madness. Picture this. Sophie's momentum gets hijacked by Sheldon, who may or may not be training with sumo wrestlers in the off-season.
A huge story and the controversy around it. And I was thinking I was pretty hard on the WNBA when Caitlin Clark came in. And I thought, guys, you can't open up with the New York Liberty and the Connecticut Sun. You want to groove her into some wins, because remember, she went from the Final Four into camp, into playing. And the WNBA, they probably knew she would be good. They didn't think she'd quite be this good.
Sure.
But it's getting to be a little bit like MJ. And they've done a better job this year. They had an easier schedule. They've put the games on television. So the WNBA took a lot of heat. And Val Ackerman, the commissioner's like, okay, we got ourselves a complete Taylor Swift in tennis shoes rock star. And they've done a much better job this year. The officiating's not great, but the league's now just starting to make real money now, right?
Sophie hits the deck like a cartoon character slipping on a banana peel. But instead of a foul, instead of concern, instead of a basic glance at physics, Sophie gets ejected, thrown out, sent packing. For existing, apparently. Now here comes the magic. As if that ejection wasn't already cooked with extra seasoning, Caitlin Clark, yes, that Caitlin Clark, the golden goose of ratings, is off doing her job, cutting through the lane like a surgeon when out of nowhere, boom, a shoulder to the gut. A hit so late and unnecessary, it came with its own apology letter. Caitlin flies, the crowd gasps, Twitter erupts, and the refs? Crickets. Not a whistle, not a blink, just vibes and blindfolds.
Caitlin, for this first, I know you and JC go way back to the Big Ten. What was going on with the chippiness there, and what explanation were you given for the tech that you got?
I'll take the official questions. There wasn't an explanation for the tech that she got. You know, I think it was pretty obvious that stuff was brewing, right? When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right, out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better.
And now, in the calm aftermath, after everyone and their grandmother has slowed down the replay like it's the Zapruder film, the referees finally respond. Oh, how noble. How brave. What a convenient case of delayed enlightenment. Suddenly, they're issuing statements, handing out technical upgrades like expired coupons, and acting as if retroactive accountability is a feature, not a flaw. But let's be honest, this isn't a league policing itself. This is a toddler cleaning up spilled milk after it's soaked into the carpet and hoping mom won't notice the smell.
So lads, Sophie Cunningham showed that she is, the old Caitlin Clark enforcer. She is the Caitlin Clark enforcer. That has been shown. She is the enforcer that the Fever have needed for the last year, and she has responded. She has responded, and obviously not responding to media, but I did not even realize, this is, by the way, this is what she posted as soon as it happened. This is in the locker room. This is before the game ended. Before the game ended. She comes out in the locker room and posts this. What are we doing? And guys, if you guys don't know, this is what happened with Sophie Cunningham. So Sophie Cunningham, she went and got revenge. Sophie Cunningham, JC Sheldon's driving to the basket.
The post-game officiating report reads like a Hallmark apology card written by a lawyer. Upon further review, they say, which is adult speak for, oops, we forgot how eyes work. Turns out Mabray's shoulder wasn't a basketball move, unless the new strategy is to body check point guards and pretend it's defense. And Sophie, that ejection apparently didn't need to happen. But hey, the game's over and the damage is done. Justice delayed is ratings denied. Of course, none of this would matter if fans hadn't absolutely torched the league online, because that's when the WNBA suddenly grows a conscience, when the engagement dips and the sponsors start side-eyeing the highlight reels like, is that legal? And let's not skip over the unspoken subtext. Caitlin Clark isn't just any rookie. She's the rookie. The camera magnet.
Shout out to the Indiana Fever. I'm feeling good, folks. Welcome to WNBA Fight Night, or as some people are saying, WNBA Raw. What a game that was. We had it all. We had basketball, we had fighting, we had blonde on blonde crime. Oh, such an epic. Oh, goodness. But at the end of the day, it resulted in an Indiana Fever W. 88-71, taking care of business, beating up on the Connecticut Sun. Marina Mabrey, she got hot. She body checked CC to the ground a la Kennedy Carter. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, is anybody on this team gonna stand up for...
The reason your uncle suddenly knows what Indiana Fever is. So when she gets decked and the league shrugs, it's not just about one foul. It's a branding nightmare. The optics, atrocious. The reaction, worse than a toddler caught stealing cookies and blaming the dog. But wait, it gets juicier. Instead of admitting to gross incompetence or just saying, yeah, we blew it, our bad, the referees hide behind the classic cloak of game flow. Ah, yes, the sacred rhythm of the game, that mystical force referees summon when they don't feel like doing their jobs. Apparently, the rules are flexible now, adjustable, like leggings. And don't even try to ask why Sheldon stayed in the game after starting the dominoes that led to the Cunningham ejection. That's top secret knowledge, buried in the same vault where they keep Area 51 aliens and the real WNBA ratings.
So, Sophie Cunningham, a player for the Indiana Fever. Now, the enforcer for the Indiana Fever, and something she is seemingly happy with the tag of, and is saying so herself, lads. She's out here basically implying that herself. So, first of all, I want to thank Sophie Cunningham for being the enforcer that the Indiana Fever have needed. I want to thank Sophie Cunningham for being that enforcer, first of all. Second of all, on behalf of myself, every single person in social media covers women's basketball. Heck, every single person that covers basketball on social media, I want to thank Sophie Cunningham for making sure our bills get paid.
Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham is somewhere icing her pride and trying to figure out how being tackled equals her getting sent to the locker room. It's almost impressive how you can be the victim and the villain in the same sequence. That takes real ref magic. Hogwarts could never. Fans, of course, aren't buying it because they watched the replays. They saw Caitlin's ponytail hit warp speed. They saw Sophie get bulldozed like a backyard fence. And they heard nothing, just the sound of a whistle-shaped void. The WNBA refs didn't miss a call. They missed a book of rules, possibly an entire encyclopedia.
8 points, Caitlin Clark, 20 points, 6 assists, 4 turnovers, and she was getting harassed all game. She was getting scratched, clawed, grabbed, held all game today. JC Sheldon was on her like white on rice. JC Sheldon was in her Pat Beverly, Lou Dort mode, doing whatever she could do to try to stay with Caitlin Clark. They got into it. They had words. Folks, what a game. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. This game had everything. This game had everything.
And let's not forget, this is the same league begging for mainstream attention, asking for the spotlight, demanding respect. But when the eyes do show up, what they get is a masterclass in chaos, inconsistencies, and referees auditioning for the next season of Survivor officiating edition. So sure, the referees responded. But like everything else in this mess, it came too late, said too little, and left everyone wondering if the game's being played or performed.